Everybody has been talking about inflation lately. I hear it everywhere. I see it everywhere in all of the media. Everything that I'm consuming, everybody's talking about how the prices of goods are rapidly increasing month over month as we reopen our economy, but with demand supply issues causing the value of our goods to increase. And that means our dollar has a little bit less spending power. With inflation rate above 6%, something that I have been looking into so that the money that I have does not keep losing its value is I-bonds, which are a series of government-backed bonds that you can buy directly from treasury.gov. And in buying I-bonds, the government is basically ensuring that they get to borrow your money, but your money will be returned and have kept up with inflation. So right now, the rate of I-bonds is 7.12%. It's good as of November 2021, all the way until April of 2022, at which point they reevaluate the inflation rate and see how it's going and potentially increase it, or maybe they drop it back down if inflation is lower. The maximum amount of I-bonds that you can buy per calendar year is $10,000, which is why I feel like this video is extremely pressing. If you do want to buy up to the max or whatever you can that goes towards the $10,000 amount, it is very important that you do it before the end of the year, which is literally next week. So today I'm just walking you through how to buy I-bonds from Treasury Direct. If you're watching this in 2021, you still have the time to buy up to $10,000 as an individual. But if you're watching this in 2022, you'll be able to kind of more leisurely put in your money at a cadence that makes sense for you. Please, before you go and do this, run to treasury.gov. They're a fantastic website, as you will see. Do your own research, decide what's right and what makes sense for your own financial situation. This is what's best for me and what I'm doing. I do have just spare cash that would otherwise have sat in my savings account, losing value. Anyway, not trying to be dramatic, just trying to diversify my portfolio. And this, again, makes sense for me right now. So if you're new here, I'm Katie, a girl on fire, and FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. And yes, I am trying to retire early at 35 with $1.5 million. So if you are interested in following me along on my journey or learning more about financial freedom and how that can be a life you create for yourself, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when my next video drops, and let's talk money, honey. So who are Series I bonds for? In my opinion, it is good for you if you want your money to keep up with inflation. You have just cash that's sitting there that you would not otherwise have invested into the stock market. You have to keep I bonds for at least 12 months before you can actually even take it out. So it's good for you if you don't need the money for over a year. And some people were suggesting when I put a poll on people's thoughts on I bonds, like, oh, just stake it for 9% in BlockFi, do it in a stable coin. If you don't want to stake your money or are uncomfortable with being in crypto, kind of honestly like me, are very skeptical of all of that, but don't want your money to, decrease because of inflation, Series I bonds are a good potential option for you. I don't think it's for you if you are like, I need better returns than that. I'm going to, YOLO on GameStop. Or if you're saving for the long term, 5+ years, the historical stock market returns in 5 or more years, the S&P 500 has performed at around a rate of 10%. So if you are planning on investing and keeping your money in the stock market in a relatively safe index fund for 5 or more years, that could be a really good option for you instead of investing in bonds. Bonds are really safe. Again, they only do as much as inflation. So it really isn't growing your wealth. I would not even call bonds an investment necessarily, because investments help you grow your money. I don't think you should look at bonds to do that in your portfolio. If you need the money to be easily accessible, this is not easily accessible. You cannot just go and withdraw this money if you need it in that 12 months that it's locked up. And if you wouldn't have kept this money in a savings account, again, if you would have invested the money in the stock market, I personally would not have invested any of this money I'm putting into the stock market. It would have continued to sit in my high yield savings account. So it makes sense for me. But if you were planning on investing your spare cash anyway, this is not for you. So before we begin, the only way you can buy these bonds is directly on the treasurydirect.gov website. You cannot buy through your typical brokerage, Charles Schwab, Fidelity, Vanguard, etc. You must open an account through Treasury Direct, which is slightly annoying and it's a little dated, I would say, the website, but navigable, and I'm here to walk you through it. So this is totally going to be on desktop. It's the easiest way. I'm not sure they're super mobile friendly. So you're going to land on this page. Lovely, looks great. And you're going to go over here and open an account. So open an account, and that will land you onto this page. So these are the options. Just going to choose the Treasury Direct individual/personal. Click on that, open the account in 3 easy steps. So apply now, scroll down here and apply now. I'm just going to go over the individual account. You can open an account under a business entity or an estate. I don't really know what purpose that might serve, but I just watched Die Hard and they were breaking into the vault for all those paper bonds, so maybe there's something to that. I do not think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I had to see what all the fuss was about, but no, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. And yes, you can debate me on that in the comments. So anyway, I'm going to select individual, and then I'm going to go down to submit. Fill out all of your personal information. Make sure all of your information is correct. Again, I blacked that out because I am not letting strangers on the internet know very, very extremely sensitive information about me. So submit. Yay! That was that. Easy enough. Thanks for opening an account with us. After this, you will get an email to your email, say, looking something like this with your account number. Obviously, again, you cannot see my account number, but you'll get an email to your inbox and it will have it. And then you're going to go back to treasurydirect.gov. And this time we're going to go up to the account login, which is over here, Treasury Direct login, and we're going to log in. So using that account number that we received in this email, once you input that, you are going to be dropped on this page and you're going to be able to enter your one-time passcode. So upon putting your account number in, it'll trigger an email, send you a one-time passcode to the email, and you're going to enter that passcode and submit it. And that will bring you to the actual passcode page where you will actually input the passcode that they made you set up when you opened your account. You're going to use this lovely virtual keyboard and actually type it in, put it in, and then you submit it. Very simple, which will land you onto your account page. So I made this mistake several times and annoyingly had to keep doing this. But if you go back or forward or refresh the page, it will basically log you out and you have to do everything all over again. Just FYI, don't make that mistake. Here on the right-hand side, you'll see all of this information. So basically, I just want to point out that these bonds are issued November and April. So in November and in April, that is when they readjust the 7.12% right here, this Series I rate, which is determined by the government and what they think the inflation rate is going to be. So right now, they expect 7.12% inflation for the next several months. And this is why they're setting the bond at that interest rate. These are the Series I ones that I am going to buy today. And again, I said this earlier, but just so it sinks in, you can only purchase $10,000 per calendar year. So on December 31st, you had to have purchased this amount. So if you're watching this, it's 2021, you have like a week to do this by the time this video drops. Minus some days because some days are holidays and we have a lot of bank holidays with New Year's Eve and Christmas and everything. So just FYI, time is of the essence if you do want to do this, if you want to put any money towards this in the calendar year. So let's actually buy these I-bonds. So again, from our account page, you're going to go to Buy Direct up at the top, and that will bring you to this page. So the thing that we are going to buy today is this Series I savings bond, an accrual type security with a combination interest rate of a fixed and an inflation rate. This can never go negative. It should always keep up with the inflation rate. I don't think of this as investments. I think of it more as savings. And so that's kind of like why I want this in my portfolio, because I'm just holding a lot of cash that I don't want invested. And I think it could be better put to use accruing 7% interest right now. Another thing to know is the interest is subject to federal income tax, but it is not going to be taxed on a state or local basis. So I put it into calculator.net. This is basically saying that my initial principal is $10,000. The interest rate is 7.12%. And after 6 months, the ending balance will be $356. So the total interest is $356. And then that $356 is added to the principal, and it begins to compound under that. So in this example, I'm just assuming that the interest rate stays at 7.12%. It could change. After the full year, so after another 6 months, then my ending balance will be $724.67. So it's like $12 more in the second half if the interest rate stays the same. Kind of cool. Again, if you don't understand how compound interest works, you really got to understand. Those who understand interest earn it, those who don't pay it. And I love that this visualized value like perfectly illustrates that. I've said this before, but 12 months, you must hold I bonds for 12 months. And if we withdraw before 5 years, you will lose the last 3 months of interest gains, which for me, that's still better than a high yield savings account right now. Maybe I lose a little bit of money, but that would still put me well ahead of like my high yield savings account is at 0.5% interest. So it would still leave me at like, I don't know, 4 or 5% interest, even minus the months that get taken away. We are purchasing $10,000. In this example, I have a spare $10,000, a single lump sum purchased for tomorrow, but you can schedule it, the purchase amount for like, say, $100 and you want it weekly. Because you have to keep these bonds in for 12 months, you could theoretically deposit it incrementally, not for this year, but you could deposit incrementally. So it's a little bit like a ladder. So as the older bonds mature, you have a little bit, maturing every week or every couple months. It depends on how you set it up. And then you can either take them out or you could keep them in. It all just depends. So kind of like a CD ladder, Google it. If you need to understand more, you have a little bit maturing every so often. Something to keep in mind. So submit that. Purchase review looks good. Series I savings bond. Purchase amount, $10,000. They change it to the next available business day. Everything looks good, but double check everything and then you submit it. And that's it. A little bit confusing that you can only purchase through here, but fairly straightforward once you do it. And hopefully me walking you through it makes it slightly less intimidating. So I hope this was a helpful tutorial walkthrough of how to buy maybe who Series I bonds are for. If you guys made I bonds a part of your portfolio, let me know why. Or if you're doing something else to combat inflation, be sure to leave that in the comments below. Let me know what you're doing because I would love to kind of hear other people's ideas. I think it's really important to have a dialogue and discussion about money because I love talking about money. So that's that. Hope it was helpful, and I will be putting out more stuff before the end of the year. Hopefully my goals video will be out this week too, so stay tuned for that, and let's all retire early together.